Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's me, Atanas, again. And we all like money, right? So I'm here with my friend, startup expert, and founder and CEO of networking premium co-working spaces, Emil Shekerdzhiiski. Welcome.
Hi, hello to everyone.
So I think it will be a conversation about business and startups and how the pandemic is working badly or not that much badly on the co-working spaces. So can you tell me what's happened to the co-working space industry right now? Because many of the freelancers in the creative industry are in the co-working spaces.
Okay, so it's a good question, but I would like to split it a bit in exactly in the pandemic and a bit after. So exactly in the pandemic, we're talking about March 2020. We and many of our colleagues, if not to say all of them, felt it really badly. Like 5% or less, roughly, of the members came to the co-workings. The co-working was literally almost empty. No one was coming to work. Everybody was super frightened, and it seems to be that we got hit the hardest. Uh, anyway, who managed to survive? The co-workings that managed to survive. Actually, the ratio is good. Most of them, I think, managed to survive. Only few closed, at least here in Sofia and Bulgaria. Seen something a bit different. Whatever happened after the 1 year after the pandemic, something that we couldn't expect, and it is basically like that. Companies that used to have office buildings for 100, 250 people office building suddenly discovered that they can do much smaller office for less seats. For example, office for 50 became office for 10 in a co-working, and the employees will rotate. And basically, they are dramatically saving the cost, like 30% of the original price or less. So it's a dramatic save. So we, the co-working, actually eventually became very relevant to many bigger companies that couldn't think even about a co-working before. It's something that surprised the whole sector, and we are glad that it happened. For the office buildings in Bulgaria, the statistics show that there are many, much more building that started already before the pandemic, and they will continue and build. So there will be more office building, Class A office building in the future, and it might be problematic in the near future when they finish in the Sofia sector. We will see what will happen.
Yeah,
Uh,
according to the many researchers around the world, by the way, most of the new buildings that are planned in the biggest cities like Barcelona or Vienna, for example, are co-working spaces, by the way. Do you hear something related in our region, in the Balkan region?
uh, yeah, I will speak about what I know really well, which is the Sofia market, the capital market. The construction of Class A offices is the highest. Also, regionally, when compared to the region, and also in Europe, it's one of the places when there is the highest new constructions of Class A offices. And it's not that it's initiated at the beginning, but the process was some kind in a process before, and it just has to be completed. And it will affect the office, Class A office, and it will affect the co-working spaces as well. But anyway, we are very competitive when compared to them. Also, there is something else that the co-working spaces are really relevant is the flexibility. People understand that they must be flexible. Today you are 50 people, tomorrow you are 100, or you are 10. You need to be able not to be attached, like the real estate, not to you to limit your company or to be attached in any way to your company expansion. Basically, you should do your own business and expand as much as you need. Your square meters in an office building should not limit you, vice versa. And this is another thing that the pandemic showed us. Flexibility is a key, and this is why co-workings might be thriving in the future.
Yeah, well, let's focus on the clients, on your clients. What happened to them? Do you have a feedback? What happened to the small startups or the people that are starting co-working in the beginning of the pandemic, for example?
Okay, so for the startups, actually the map of our clients in the co-working changed. Like we had to uh, change almost entirely our client base. Some stayed before the pandemic, and after the pandemic moved to a smaller plan or smaller office. and we had to welcome new clients. Regarding the startup itself, it's hard to tell, but a small startup, generally, its flexibility to decide to come back to work from home is more agile. This is why these startups during the pandemic managed somehow to continue the work and to have quick decision whether to come back to work or stay at home. But most of them survive. The startups that are directly connected to the COVID, businesses such tickets to events, and said that they were directly hit, most likely stopped their business or pivoted to another thing, stay with the team and pivoted to another idea. They could not survive doing the same idea for 2 years almost.
And what about events and community building? Is there any changes there about the
Okay, so
organizing
this
events?
is the bad news. As far as we all know, co-working spaces, part of its business is the events. It's a major part, like 1/3 of its entire occupation and also income is events. And this has not yet recovered. There was some waves that event came back when it was allowed, but currently we're on the fourth wave. So basically, the event went back to almost zero. So there we're kind of all still suffering. We have big event venue that we changed to co-working areas in order to survive and to make it through.
So let's switch to the topic to startups again. Are there any creative startups here in Bulgaria? Because I think there are a few. What's your observation about that?
Yeah, definitely. As far as the startups and the creativity mind, actually, I feel that the COVID created more option for new ideas and modern startups adapting to the situation. So
And
I've seen
that's
many,
great, right?
yeah, many all teams or all startups found out new creative ideas, and they are building them and creating them. In Bulgaria especially, we have this monthly competition, pitch to pitch, that it seems that innovation is not missing, and the corona only created more innovation. uh, I can compare also to Israel. Like, this is a record time in Israel and in Tel Aviv, in the ecosystem there, of creating unicorns. Like every week, sometimes two per week, new unicorns come to life. So there is funding, there is thriving companies, that the pandemic only accelerated it in some kind of a way, at least in the unicorn counter. So it was not bad. Yeah, some startups died, but the ones with the good teams that is directly infected managed to pivot. And some of them, there is money in the market. There is money for investment in the market, definitely. Many people and companies invest in big tickets, in high valuation, and I wouldn't say there is a lack of money to invest in startup. Actually, the vice versa is what I see and what I mentioned. Office R&D 2 days ago, the Bulgarian company raised 10 million. They are good example, good exits. So there is no lack of money to invest in startup in the market, as far as I see. But the startup founders, the employees, and the people seems to be suffering. Okay, the all of the bills and the expenses seems to be going up. The salary is only a bit, and the people are suffering for lack of money. But the institutional and the more experienced investors didn't stop investing.
And straightforward, where the money come from? Are there less or more investors right now in the market in general, not only in Bulgaria, in general?
Okay, I will speak about trend that I see that is blooming right now. There are many new investors. Some of them are gaining capital from the cryptocurrencies and the crypto market, the NFT market. All of this is kind of like a bubble that is creating many new millionaires, many new rich people. People flip NFTs and become after one day they become millionaires. People invest in risky early stage currencies that boom, and all of this seems that many new millionaires have come to our stage, mainly thankful these ones to the blockchain and to the cryptocurrency market going and booming during the pandemic. I think these guys are going directly coming or becoming rich from technology directly to invest in other technological company, either through blockchain or from the standard investment in technological companies. This is one angle that I see that is kind of really good for the startup economy.
And what about art tech or design and any more related to the creative industry startups?
Okay, so I
Have you
have
ever
some.
met somebody from this
Yeah, I've met
industry?
yesterday a guy came here that bought an NFT for 1 million, like a CryptoPunk number. I don't know, bought it for
Yeah.
1 million, and it seems to be that. Okay, first let's say explain the NFT investing in NFT, investing in art, in digital art, is one thing that is currently by idea very nice. I own a digital art, but in my opinion, those people who invest in digital art are not really into the art. They're only looking to make profits and buying and selling afterwards in a higher price. So in my opinion, it's not really investing in art. Otherwise, it could have been. You can invest in digital art. You can turn physical art into digital art and have an ownership on it. It sounds amazing. But in reality, the people who buy these are not art collectors, in my opinion. Yeah, most of them. They are investing to make profits and to sell in much higher price than they bought it as. So it's a nice idea, it's a cool idea, but current implementation, it's only about flipping art, let's say, because there's some of the creations are not really art, in my opinion. Okay,
Yeah, it's only a trend. It's only a
it's
trend.
only a
It
trend.
won't be
It's
a
not really an
sustainable.
art. Like you
Okay.
cannot call a pixelized image an art, in my opinion.
Okay,
Okay.
okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Okay, what about the new investors? So you met somebody that I think they're much experienced to do such thing. But what about the new investors? So many people are working around to buy a new house, for example. But what about investing in startups? Can we say that this is it a true statement that people know that they can invest in startups and they know how to do it?
Okay, so I will start with the basic facts. Like the real estate market, almost anywhere in the world is going up and up and up. The prices are going up, maybe because people work from home, so they see it as a more important things to expand to a bigger home, to have a home, maybe, or other effects. But the real estate market, the real estate market for residential is going up and up and up everywhere. It's a bubble or not, it's an idea. So the real estate market is going up. Uh, the stock market is also going up all the time for any reason, whether it's artificial or it's natural. But the stock market is going up. So the next thing, the most volatile thing, is the startup market. We see higher tickets and we see more and more companies joining the unicorn club. It's in the newspapers. It's in this is the cool thing, this is the trend now, to invest in a small startup and it might become a multi-million dollar company or a unicorn. Maybe it's very modern. Whether people have the skills and the knowledge how to invest in it. We also saw something during the pandemic. It's becoming popular, the investment in the B market in Bulgaria. The B market basically allows smaller company to be listed and to make an IPO. They can raise 3 million every year, 3 million euros every year in a simplified method, or a bit more complex method to raise 11 million every year. It's putting on the map every mid-sized company that can virtually go into the stock market and invest. We have actually every company that went to the B market so far in Bulgaria was super successful, like from 1.7 over the sale to 3.4 point, etc.
So
Every
we can
company.
say that people are prepared to invest in startups in Bulgaria.
Yes, the bad thing that you can see that the people that are investing in such B market companies are not the everyday Joe. These are professional investors that are used to invest even before the beam was there. So this is
Okay.
the bad thing. I hope that as the beam market and IPOs for small companies became approachable to mid-sized companies, so it might be approachable for mid-sized investors or private people that want to put their money in a bit more risky but much more rewarding place. And this happened during the pandemic, actually, in Europe as general, not just in Bulgaria. There is such an option all around Europe.
Is it easy to open a new co-working space in this situation right now? I think you're the maybe the only one person that can answer this
I
question.
wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. Okay, we do it because we have our concept that the more spaces we open, the better our community is, the higher our margins, profit margins, and basically our value to the single member, single location is raising and raising. But this is only us. Don't take us as example. Like we have examples of colleague co-working that had to open during the pandemic and very difficult work. So I wouldn't do it. I would wait a little bit and only then enjoy an open market. Basically, now in Bulgaria there are limitations. People are not sure. We all the time get the calls. Can I come to the co-working without a green pass? Either it's not. So it's kind of a area of uncertainty. We are planning events, and after a week or two, we need to cancel them. It's not a good time to open co-working, even though it might be successful after years. I cannot, with my full heart, recommend during this time for new people who just need to know the market. They might be hitting a depression.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, that's a very insightful information. So, can we say the same thing about anywhere else? For example, in Israel, is it a good market right now? Because they're, I think, pretty well on the dealing with the pandemic. So, is it a good way to start business there? And what's the preparation you need to open an office in Israel, for example?
Okay, so it might sound very sexy to open a startup in Israel and most likely will succeed. You will get investment. It might be true, but the facts are when comparing Bulgaria to Israel, Bulgaria is times better place to open and start a startup. Why? I'll explain. First, in Bulgaria, you are allowed to make small mistakes in your business. To hire the wrong guy will not kill the company. In Israel, if a startup hire the wrong CTO or the wrong employee, his salary basically wasted will kill the company because it's much higher. In Bulgaria, mistakes cost much less. Mistakes for startups. Cost of living, taxes are obvious things that join this. But basically, I think, in my opinion, Bulgaria is far better place to start a startup. When you grow, it's better to go outside of Bulgaria to look for investment in the later seed or rounds, because there is not a lot of available money and tickets happening in Bulgaria. There are, but not a lot. And then you must grow outside of Bulgaria and look for investment in other places. Your team can still be in Bulgaria, but on a later stage, you should go out. You cannot stay like the company stay in Israel and raise from the whole world just because they're Israelis. So this is the basic comparison that I think is vital people to know. Bulgaria is a great place to investigate, to do mistake, and to start a startup.
I think it's the right time to talk about predictions. So, let's say, can we say which is the best area in the creative industries to start a startup, to start a new project right now? For example, cinema, architecture, or design, or consultancy agency. What's your opinion?
Okay, you should think about blockchain and whether you can implement it in your business, creative or not. For example, Evedo, the online ticket selling through blockchain, removing counterfeit, many technical things that have benefits over the blockchain. Art that you create either digitally or create it physically and move it to as an NFT and create a collection, create income through cryptocurrencies in physical or digital art. This is an example. Crowdfunding might be an option. The crowds seem to be open to support creators, to support people who are in need. There seems to be like a social solidarity between the people, and it seems that now during the pandemic and after the pandemic, people are more open. Whether I'm lucky and my business is successful, let me support businesses that are not that lucky during the pandemic. It seems to be like a trend. Businesses, individual in different sectors, supporting others. So you might be in these sectors that you are banned. If you're a musician, for example, you can put music on NFT, for example, on the blockchain. All of these areas that are seriously offended, it seems that they're getting more support when compared to regular times.
Okay, do you have any advice to new startups, to people that are trying not to be the next blockchain unicorn, but to be the next uh, open library, or to be the next website about cinema, for example? What do you think? Let's talk about monetization, for example. What you what can you say about this?
Okay, it's a difficult question, but generally, as in regular time, as in regular startup, the same rules applied. The first one, you must have some funding to a project. Try to raise from friends and family. Try an online crowdfunding campaign. Try to raise money all the time. Try the business to generate income throughout its work. Don't hope for an exit. Try to generate income, because a business without money, this is the number one failure reason for it. Second thing, invest from the very first beginning in your team and in your colleagues. It doesn't matter the quantity so much at the beginning, but much more the quality. It's better for one of your teammates to work 20%, 30% more time than hiring another one third of another employee. So the team. You should think about how you can scale your business. Always, it should not be local. If you're creating an art, physical art, or whatever, it's not very scalable. If you're creating music, it's already scalable. If you're creating a movie and stuff like this is scalable. So you think from the very first moment about how you should scale and how would business react to scaling. Uh, Basically, this is the top three things that you should think about from the very first beginning. And there are many more, but time is limited. So this is my three advices.
Okay, and maybe final question: what do you think is the impact of startup events in the ecosystem everywhere?
Okay, so events and startup creating events in co-workings or in other places is basically like whatever theater is created to the culture. It's educating the people that startups are cool, that startups are modern, that startups are active, releasing new products, releasing new features. Going forward, new companies are coming, raising money and celebrating it. And through events, it's very vital because many people see it. It's kind of a new thing. It didn't happen before 10, 20 years. It was not very modern. Startup, small, big, creating events to the public.
Okay, thank you. So everyone, people are not that scary. So thank you, Emil, for joining SlavConf Reinforcement, our
Thank
fifth
you.
anniversary. We'll continue with the agenda.
Good luck.
Thank you. And